Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope you all in a great condition. My name is Fathia Khairunnisa with my friend Melanium. Today we're going to discuss an interesting topic about corpus approaches in discourse analysis. So without any further ado, let's start our presentation. Alright, so let's start this ritual by knowing the definition of corpus. So what is corpus? In discourse analysis focuses on understanding how language functions in extended pieces of communication, looking beyond isolated sentences to understand meaning in context. A corpus in this field provides a repository of language data, either spoken or written, that reflects natural, authentic usage across different genres and contexts. A corpus typically consists of real-world language, samples such as newspapers, articles, transcript of spoken conversations, social media posts, and other forms of text or speech. These samples allow discourse analysis to observe language in its natural context as opposed to fabricated or hypothetical examples. For example, it may analyze how news articles are structured to convey authority or how conversation participants manage turn-taking in spoken dialogue. Corpus linguistics is a subfield that employs computational tools to analyze language data in corpora. So using software, discourse analysis can conduct frequency analysis, or how often certain words or phrases appear, and then collocation analysis, which words tend to occur, and concordance analysis, how words are used in context across different texts. These methods help researchers uncover the recurring patterns and discourse structures, such as how certain phrases are consistently used to express power, identity, or authority in different types of discourse. For example, in the political discourse, in this case, a corpus of political speeches or debates can reveal how politicians use rhetorical strategies to influence public opinion, such as the repetition of key slogans or the framing of certain topics.
That one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream.
I believe we can keep the promise of our founding. The idea that if you're willing to work hard, it doesn't matter who you are, or where you come from, or what you look like, or where you love. It doesn't matter whether you're black or white, or Hispanic, or Asian, or Native American, or young or old, or rich or poor, able, disabled, gay or straight. You can make it here in America if you're willing to try. I believe we can seize this future together because we are not as divided as our politics suggests. We're not as cynical as the pundits believe. We are greater than the sum of our individual ambitions, and we remain more than a collection of red states and blue states. We are and forever will be the United States of America.
And a pragmatic corpus of text or spoken interactions that include rich contextual information such as speaker identities, backgrounds, social relationships, cultural and situational factors. This allows researchers to investigate how meaning is constructed dynamically in specific contexts. For example, in customer service instructions, a corpus could reveal patterns in how employees mitigate refusals. For example, I'm afraid we can't do that. So by saying this statement, it actually shows how to maintain the politeness. And then, for example, in everyday conversations, A corpus of spoken interactions can help analyze how people use language to manage face-threatening acts, for example, like refusals or disagreements in conversationals. So in pragmatic analysis, such a corpus could reveal strategies like hedging. I'm not sure, but okay. So by this statement, the people used to soften their statements. So I could conclude that a corpus is a principled and large collection or body of authentic texts that are stored in a computer and analyzed using software designed for corpus analysis. Okay, I make it more simple. So corpus linguistic is the study of language using corpora. So corpus linguistic is not a theory of language, but it is a tool or method to study language and investigate the linguistic phenomena. Next, it is about the types of corpora used in discourse analysis and pragmatics. So, in discourse analysis and pragmatics, various types of corpora are used to analyze language in different contexts and different purposes. The selection of a particular types of corpora depends on the research goals and then the focus of the study and the nature of the data needed. Here are the main types of corpora used in discourse analysis and pragmatics. The first one is general corpora. General corpora are large collections of language that cover a broad range of text types and spoken interactions. These corpora are designed to represent the language used across different genres, registers, and social settings, providing a comprehensive view of a language. And used in the discourse analysis, general corpora are used to study common patterns of language use across different domains. It allows researchers to identify discourse structures and then the rhetorical strategies and general conversations that are prevalent in various types of communication, for example, in media, politics, and education. And then the other example of general corpora include the British National Corpus or BNC, which contains spoken and written English from various contexts, and the corpus of contemporary American English or COCA, which includes language from fictions, academic writing, newspapers, and more. Meanwhile, in pragmatic, general corpora help researchers understand how language users navigate different contexts by employing politeness strategies, managing turn-taking in conversation, or using indirect speech acts. This corpora can be used to study how pragmatic phenomena like implicator or speech acts, for example, requests, apologies, vary across genders or social settings. The second type is specialized corpora. So specialized corpora are designed to focus on specific types of discourse, text, genres, or communication settings. They contain language data relevant to particular fields, topics, or social interactions. And then specialized corpora are ideal for analyzing language in domain-specific discourse. For example, a corpus of legal discourse can be used to study how legal language is structured to convey authority, clarity, and precision, or how argumentation is constructed in court proceedings. Meanwhile, in pragmatics, specialized corpora allow for the analysis of how language users adapt their speech to specific social or professional contexts. For example, in customer service, corpus can provide insights into how politeness strategies are used to maintain positive relationships with clients while managing complaints or requests. And then the third type is spoken corpora. Spoken corpora consists of transcriptions of real-life spoken interactions, often accompanied by metadata about the speakers, social roles, and the context of the conversation. Some spoken corpora also include audio or video recordings to capture additional paralinguistic information like intonation, pitch, and stress. The use in discourse analysis, spoken corpora are essential for analyzing conversational discourse and real-time communication. It helps researchers study how speakers construct meaning, manage turn-taking, and use the discourse markers. For example, well, you know, to signal translations of maintained cohesion. It also allows for the examination of narrative structures in spoken language, such as how speakers tell stories, provide the explanations, and then offer argumentations in everyday conversations. So, spoken corpora are particularly useful for examining face-to-face interactions, where pragmatic meaning is often conveyed not just through word, but also through intonation, and then pauses and body language. For instance, a corpus of workplace meetings could reveal how indirect requests are made to mitigate power imbalances between supervisors and employees. The examples of spoken corpora, the first one is Santa Barbara Corpus of American English. It contains a variety of real-life spoken interactions, from casual conversations to professional meetings. And then London Land Corpus. It is a corpus of spoken English conversations focusing on natural speech patterns and conversational features. The fourth type is multimodal corpora. Multimodal corpora include not only spoken or written language data, but also other forms of communication, such as gesture, facial expressions, body movements, and visual elements in videos. These corpora integrate multiple modes of communication to provide a fuller picture of how meaning is created to face-to-face interactions. And it is used in discourse analysis. Multimodal corpora allow discourse analysis to study how different modes of communication work together to construct meaning. For example, a video recording of a political debate might show how candidates use hand gestures, facial expressions, and visual aids, for example, charts or slides, to enhance their verbal arguments. It's also useful for exploring how visual and verbal elements interact in media discourse, such as in advertisement or news broadcasts. Meanwhile, in pragmatics, multimodal corpora help researchers to analyze how non-verbal contribute to the pragmatic meaning interactions. For example, gestures can reinforce or modify the meaning of spoken utterance, and facial expressions can signal politeness, sarcasm, and emotional status. These corpora are especially useful for studying in face-to-face interactions, where pragmatic meaning is often conveyed through a combination of verbal and non-verbal signals. A corpus of classroom interactions, for example, might show how teachers use eye contact, gestures, and tone of voice to manage student participation and give the feedback. And then the fifth type is learner corpora. Learner corpora consists of language data produced by non-native speakers or language learners. These corpora are used to study how learners acquire and use language at different proficiency levels in various communicative contexts. Learner corpora provide insights into how non-native speakers manage the discourse structures when speaking or writing in a second language. It analyzes how learners organize their essays, structure their arguments, or manage conversation topics in spoken dialogue. Meanwhile, in pragmatic, learner corpora are used to study how language learners navigate or their ability to use language appropriately in social contexts. For example, it might investigate how learners handle speech acts like making requests and giving compliments in a second language. For example of learner corpora, it is in International Corpus of Learner English, or ICLE. It contains written data from advanced learners of English across different countries and language backgrounds. And then The other example is Cambridge Learner Corpus, or CLC. It is a large collection of written English exam scripts for learners around the world. And then the sixth type is diachronic corpora. It consists of language data collected over different time periods, allowing researchers to track changes in language use over time. These corpora are used to study language evolution and historical language trends. Alright, now let's talk about the design and corporation of corpora. This time, it is actually a critical process that involves carefully planning, collecting, and organizing language data to ensure that the corpus meets the specific goals of your research. A well-designed corpus reflects authentic language use and provides reliable data for linguistic analysis, whether for discourse analysis, pragmatics, or other fields. So the first thing that we have to do is defining the purpose and scope of the corpus. For example, if the corpus is aimed at studying business email communication, its scope should include email exchange in professional settings across different industries, focusing on the use of requests, and then politeness, strategies, and turn-taking mechanism. And then the second thing we have to do is determining the corpus size and representatives. Once your purpose is clear, the next step is to decide on the size and representatives of the corpus. These factors affect the validity and generalizability of the research findings. The third is the data collection methods. Once the size and scope are determined, data collection begins. The methods of data collection depend on whether the corpus is focused on written or spoken language. So you choose. And then the fourth one is data annotation and metadata. So after the data collection, the next step is annotating the corpus and adding metadata to enrich the data set for analysis. Proper annotations make the corpus usable for various types of linguistic analysis, such as synthetic, semantic, pragmatic, or discourse level studies. The fifth one is corpus cleaning and validation. Before a corpus is ready for analysis, it must be cleaned and validated to ensure that the data is accurate, consistent, and free from errors. The next and the last step is corpus management and accessibility. Once the corpus is constructed, it is important to ensure that it is properly managed and accessible to researchers. So, the design and construction of a corpus require careful planning and execution to ensure that the data is reliable, representative, and suited to the research objectives. By following a structured approach that includes defining the purpose, collecting authentic data, and annotating and enriching it with metadata and ensuring accessibility, so it can create the valuable resource for analyzing language in discourse analysis, pragmatics, and so on. Next, here we're gonna talk about the Longman Spoken and Written English Corpus, or LSWE corpus. It's one of the most extensive and influential linguistic corpora designed to study the differences and similarities between spoken and written English. Developed by Longman Publishers in collaboration with prominent linguists such as Douglas Pieper. It is particularly notable for its impact on the field of register analysis, which studies how language varies depending on context, medium, and purpose. So here we're going to see a little bit overview of the LSWE corpus. So the size of the LSWE consists of around 40 million words of both spoken and written English. The language variety, it includes data from British English and American English, providing a broad perspective on English usage.
We'll start with the corpus of contemporary American English. This is one of the most popular databases out there because it has about 1 billion words. It comprises data for the past 30 years or so, and it's considered to be a balanced corpus, meaning that it pulls from a variety of sources. And again, just keep this help window open and you will find out more about what you're doing. There's always some explanations here. And if you don't see this word, always search for the help button because it occurs often and it's very helpful. So let's just start with a basic search. I'm going to look for the word depend. And I just want to show you what the results look like. So this, what we see here under frequency, this is the raw frequency, how many times it occurs. You can click on it and you can see it in context. So a lot of entries from blogs. If you just browse a little bit through the results, you'll see other types of sources being mentioned. So magazines, academic sources, blogs, web, spoken data, fiction, news, and so on. And you can click on any of these results and then you can see how the word was used in that specific context. You can search for words that occur with depend by putting an asterisk either before or after the word, and this will give you any type of word that occurs after depend. So we see here the most frequent results. Depend on occurs more frequently, followed by depend upon, and so on. You'll see some results for punctuation as well. And you can search.
All right. Thank you, Fathia. Okay. Now, let's talk about the next material about discourse characteristic of conversational English. These are the special features that show how we talk to each other every day. The first one, we have turn taking. So what is turn taking? So turn taking is the process by which people take turns speaking in conversation. It helps manage the flow of dialogue, ensuring that each person has a chance to contribute without interrupting others. For example, if person A say, I went to a new cafe yesterday, and then person B replies, oh really? How was that? This show that person B wait for person A to finish talking, creating a smooth back and forth in the conversation. The next, we have overlapping. What is overlapping? Overlapping occurs when two or more speakers talk at the same time. This can show enthusiasm, urgency, or a desire to engage more in the conversation. For example, I really like the concert, especially the blah blah blah. And person B jump in with, yeah, the energy was amazing. In this case, both people are excited and the overlapping speech adds energy to the conversation. The third one, we have use of fillers. What is it? Fillers are words or sound like uh, you know, and like the speakers use to fill pauses while thinking. They help maintain the flow of the conversation and give the speaker time to organize their thought. For example, if person A says, so I was thinking, if you wanted to join us for dinner. The fillers and help the speaker gather their thought while keeping the listener engaged. The fourth one, we have repetition. Repetition involves saying the same word or phrases multiple times for emphasis or clarity. It helps reinforce a point and makes it more memorable for the listener. For example, if person A say it was really fun, the repetition of really emphasized just how much fun they had, making their point stronger and clearer. Alright, now let's move on the performance phenomena of conversational discourse. This refers to how people actually manage their speech while talking in real time. The first one, we have pauses and hesitation. Pauses and hesitation occur when speakers stop briefly to think about what they want to say. Next, this can happen for various reasons, such as needing time to organize their thoughts or remember a word. For example, if someone say, I was thinking about going to the, and the pauses, it shows they are unsure of how to continue. They might be searching for the right word or trying to figure out how to express their idea. The second, we have false start. What is false start? False start happen when a speaker begin to say something, realize it isn't quite right, and then stop to rephrase or clarify their point. This is a common part of natural speech, showing that the speaker is actively thinking about their word. For example, in a sentence, so I was no wait, let me start again. We see a false start. The speaker begin to express a thought but quickly realize they need to rephrase it for clarity. The third one, we have back channels. Back channels are brief verbal or non-verbal responses from the listener that indicate they are engaged and following the conversation. They can be words like uh-huh, yeah, or nodding, which signal to the speaker that their message is being received. For example, if person A is speaking and person B occasionally responds with uh-huh or I see, this back-channel signal shows that person B is actively listening and encouraging person A to continue. In conclusion, this performance phenomena, pauses, hesitation, false start, and back channels highlight the dynamic and spontaneous nature of conversation. They show how speakers manage their thought and engage with their listeners in real-time communication. Now, let's discuss the constructional principle of conversational discourse. These are the underlying patterns and rules that shape how conversations are organized and flow. The first one, we have adjacency pairs. What is adjacency pairs? Adjacency pairs are two-part exchange that typically occur in conversation where the first part forms a specific kind of response. They help create predictable interaction between speakers. For example, the classic example is a greeting. When one people say, how are you? The expected response is, I'm good, thanks. This structure helps facilitate smooth communication and encourage interaction. The second, we have preference organization. What is preference organization? It's referred to the tendency of speakers to choose responses that are socially accepted or preferred, rather than respond that might lead to a disagreement or conflict. This helps maintain harmony in conversation. For example, if someone asks, do you want to go to the movies? A preferred response would be, yes, that sounds great, rather than a negative or dismissive response, which might create a tension. The third one, we have topic management. Topic management involves introducing, maintaining, or shifting topics smoothly within a conversation. It ensures that the dialogue flows naturally and that both speakers are engaged in the discussion. Example, if person A say, speaking of movies, did you see the latest blockbuster? They introduce a new topic. A person will respond by saying, yes, I love it, What did you think? They maintain the topic by engaging with person A question. In conclusion, the constructional principle of conversational discourse, adjacency pairs, preference organization, and topic management play a crucial role in structuring our conversation. They help ensure effective communication and create a more enjoyable exchange between the speaker. Okay, now let's explore the corpus study of the social nature of discourse. This field investigates how language reflects social interaction and relationship using corpus data, which is large collection of text. The first one we are going to talk about the power relation. What does it mean? Power relation refer to the dynamic of authority and influence in communication language can resolve this dynamic through the choice of word and the formality of speech. For example, in workplace setting, a manager might use more formal language when addressing employees, while the employees may use informal language among themselves. Analyzing this interaction can show how power is expressed through the language. The second, we have politeness. Politeness in language refers to how individuals express respect in their communication. This can be seen in word choice, tone, and structure of sentence. For example, in English, phrases like "would you mind" or "could you please" are used to show politeness. When making requests, analyzing corpus data can reveal patterns of politeness and impoliteness in various contexts. The third one, we have cultural norm. Cultural norm influence how discourse varies across different societies. This involves understanding the social rules that dictate appropriate communication style in various cultures. For example, in some culture, direct communication is valued, while in other, indirect communication is preferred. For instance, in a formal meeting, addressing a colleague as Mr. Smith may be standard in one culture. Meanwhile, using first name might be more acceptable in another country. Corpus studies can help identify these differences. In conclusion, corpus studies of the social nature of discourse, focusing on power relation, politeness, and cultural norm, provide valuable insight into how language reflects and shapes social interaction. By analyzing real-world data, we can better understand the complexities of communication in different contexts. Alright, now let's delve into collocation and corpus study. Collocation refers to words that frequently occur together in natural language use, creating predictable combinations that enhance communication. The first one, we have to know first what is collocation. Collocation is the tendency of certain words to appear together more often than by change. These combinations sound natural to the native speaker. For example, we say make a decision instead of do a decision. The word pair make and decision is common collocation. The second one, we have the collocation strength. Collocation strength refers to how often two words appear together in a specific context. Strong collocation are combinations that are frequently used, making them sound more natural. For example, the phrase fast food is a strong collocation because fast and food frequently appear together in everyday conversation. The third one, we have corpus studies and language pattern. Corpus studies analyze language pattern using large collection of text, allowing the researcher to observe how collocation function in various contexts. For example, by examining the corpus, researcher can identify the fixed phrases or common expression like take a break, or strong argument. These expressions are predictable and help us communicate more efficiently. In conclusion, understand collocation pattern is crucial for language learner and user. It revolves how people naturally use language, making communication smoother and more effective. By analyzing this combination through corpus studies, we can gain valuable insight into language use in different contexts. Okay, now let's talk about some criticism of corpus study. While they are very helpful for understanding language, they do have some limitation. The first one is the contextual limitation. Corpus data often look at language pattern without considering the social or cultural background. This means that while we might see certain words or phrases, we might not understand how or why they are used in real life situation. For example, a word used in a formal setting may have a different meaning or usage in casual conversation. The second one, we have overgeneralization. Sometimes the pattern we find in one type of text don't apply to all kind of language. For instance, a study based on formal academic writing may not show how people really talk in everyday life. Example, a study of a university paper may show complex vocabulary, but in a casual chat, people use simpler words and phrases. The last one, we have bias in data. If a corpus doesn't include a wide range of language examples, it may not represent how people speak around the world. A corpus that focuses too much on one area or group may give a skewed view of language. For example, if a corpus only contains news articles, it won't show how people actually talk in their daily life, which can be very different. In conclusion, this criticism highlights the need to be careful when interpreting the corpus studies. Understanding this limitation can help us get a clearer picture of how language is used. Alright, I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you so much for watching our video. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.